Okay, today I'm going to give you an example of how to round your answers. You're going to be rounding square roots today, and I want to make sure you know how to round a number. So I'm going to give you the example of 1.653. So when I look at this number, I want to round it to the nearest 10th place. The nearest 10th place is one number after the decimal point. So I'm going to underline the 6 because that's in the 10th place. So that means any number that comes after that, I'm going to have to check to see how I can round my answer. So in this example, we need to look at this second number, and we're going to take a look at the second number. So if the second number is 5 or higher, then I'm going to round up the number that's in the 10th place. So if I round up the number that's in the 10th place, which is 6, I'm going to round it up one number higher. So 1.653 is now going to become 1.7. That is my rounded answer, rounded up. In the next example, I have 2.836. Again, the first number after the decimal is the number that's in the 10th place. I'm going to take a look and look at the number that comes second, and I'm going to check, is that number 5 or higher? No, it's less than 5. So if the number is less than 5, I'm going to cut off the rest of those numbers. So I'm going to cut off the 3 and the 6. Those are no longer part of my rounded answer. And the rounded answer for 2.836 is just going to be 2.8, and my number is rounded to the 10th place. So only one number after the decimal point. In today's lesson, you're going to be finding the square root of irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are the ones that are not perfect squares. A perfect square would be find the square root of 16, find the square root of 25. Those, but square root of 3 is not a perfect square root. You're going to be using your calculator for this activity. So please go to your calculator on your iPad, and there is the square root symbol you're going to be using. So we're going to hit I hit square root twice, sorry. We're going to hit the square root symbol, put 3. So I have 3 on my calculator, and we're going to hit equals. And then there's the square root, 1.7320508, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. So we're going to have to round this number to the 10th place. So I'm just going to write down the first 3 numbers that we have here. So this is equal to 1.732. I want you to round this to the 10th place. So when we round this to the 10th place, I need to look at the number after the decimal. I got 1.7. And this is where my number is going to be rounded. So I take a look at the second number. Is 3 higher than 5? No. So that means we're going to follow this example, the previous example I showed you. We're going to cut those 2 numbers off. My rounded answer is just 1.7. Okay? If I was to do another example for you, if I wanted to do, let's say I wanted to do the square root of 8. Let's take a look at what the square root of 8 is. So I'm going to hit the square root symbol, the number 8, and then I'm going to hit equals. There we go, 2.828. I take a look at this second number. It's less than 5, so all of this gets cut off. 2.8 is my rounded answer. So finding the square root of the number should be pretty easy because you're going to use your calculator. The tricky part for you guys is finding the 10th place and being able to round that number that you have. Okay, so go ahead and open up your calculator when you do the activity so that you can find the square root of the numbers and then round your answers. If I was to do one last example, the square root of 15, I'm going to get 3.87. There's the 10th place. I look at the second number, it's a 7. 7 is higher than 5, so that means I'm going to round up that 8. When I round up that 8, my answer is going to be 3.9. So I'm going to say the square root of 15 rounded to the 10th place is 3.9.